helps us protect our site. Okay, and that, we have a temporary, so right now we're working on the permanent solution. So we were able to put in a temporary dumpster box that will begin, hopefully be initiating operations in Redmond. Okay, so all of these things have been, are either supposed to complete or have been completed, which is why we're seeing the reduced load. I have an individual come to me and say, how is it that it happened? It wasn't like management. All of this took a lot of work and a lot of years. But one of the things that this really highlights right now is the U.S. Mexico border.
Sorry to interrupt.
Most
Is
of
there
our defense
anything that we can do about the sound?
rely on Mexico border. And so expanding the plant right now, doubling the size of the plant, is going to put more control and more of our defense mechanisms on the U.S. The other thing that we're working on is an analysis that will give communities information on the Tijuana River Diversion Project. This is another project that you, the stakeholders, the community, has asked for. And that Tijuana River Diversion Project is something that we're doing right now. We just felt the scope of work. We got a lot of input from key stakeholders for that scope of work. And we're going to be going out to bid with that fairly soon. And why is that? Why is it important to have that? If I was free for a day, I'd build that for you. I have no problem doing that. But unfortunately, the federal government clips my wings. Okay? And the federal government doesn't take on new infrastructure very easily. So we're going to be doing that study and sharing it with the stakeholders so that you have the tools to advocate for this additional infrastructure, or the funding that's needed, or the operation and maintenance. And so we will be providing that, having some public, sharing that publicly, so you have the tool for that advocacy. Okay, and so those are all of the things that we're working on. The 4 key fronts. So we developed this fact sheet in the. If we can send it out, if anybody wants to sign up for a QR code, but it talks about the 4 key plans that we're working. Okay. The first is the repairs to the plant. Okay, and we'll have to talk about that. But the repairs to the plant, when I started up the IBWC in August of 2021, there was $100 million, and there was this acknowledgement that we needed to do. Okay. And so what do? We invested in Mexico, we invested in our plants. So EPA started to do an alternative analysis. And so in their alternative analysis, I knew that our plant was going to need to be an important piece of that. It hadn't been selected as where the $300 million that the federal government gave EPA would go. So we started doing the condition assessment. And so doing that condition assessment is where we discovered that this plant needed about $180 million per year. And that got a lot of people very. And I had to deliver that baggage, which trust me, going in with angry members of Congress is really a scary thing, right? Angry members of the White House, angry. But I said, you know what? All I can do is share with the best. Okay. So I did that. And I mean, I even had people ask me, why did you wait until June? You were in May. Well, we were still wrapping our heads around all of this, right? So given that, we went and what did the members of Congress do? They rallied, and our budget for the entire border, when I got there, the average budget from 2010 to 2021 was $32 million for the entire border. Increasing our budget is not easy. And so because of the outreach that was done, because of the outrage that came with what was happening at the IBWC, in FY24, members of Congress got our budget increased to $156 million. That was a heavy lift by your representatives. That was a heavy lift by the county, by cities, by all of the effort that was done by elected officials to make sure that the White House 3,000 miles away. And so it was really important for them to understand that this was happening here, okay? And so because of all of that collective effort, we are here where we are today. We're in a very privileged position to have repaired our plant. We've invested in 18 months, $31 million. And we are very close to meeting our permit requirements. And so that was one step. The next step, rehab and expansion. We awarded the contract as a progressive design bill in August of this year. Why is progressive design bill important? Because it's one contract where we have both the contractor and the designer together. The federal government workers typically do that. They do, we design it, we fight about the price, we compete it, we fight about the price, and then we hire a contractor, a construction firm. This is all one package. So they all work together from the beginning. So this was another thing that we moved the needle on. And we did that collectively. Okay? So awarded the design bill. We launched today the first small package under the contract. We awarded the design. Now we awarded the first small package under that progressive design bill for rehabilitation and expansion of our plant. That's the second one. What's the third one? We have a lot of issues in Mexico. And so when I first started in August of 2021, with the support of staff, Sally Skeeter, Deborah and I, and other staff that we had, we negotiated with Mexico and funded that. That was called ministry. Well, the minutes, because that's the tool that the IBWC has to negotiate with Mexico, and it's a 5-year agreement. So we negotiated that the United States was going to invest $300 million, it's going to be more because our plan is more expensive, and Mexico's going to invest $141 million. $141 million in Mexico is a lot of money. And it's usually about 5 to 1. So that's almost like, if you were to build that equivalent infrastructure in the United States, that would be like $550, $600 million worth of investment. So for Mexico, that's a lot of investment going in. And so part of our work at the IBWC is to have monthly meetings with Mexico to track those projects. Are they moving forward? They've already gotten 40% of their funding. They haven't gotten 100. Then why is it not useful to have for them to have 100% of their funding? Because in Mexico, you cannot carry construction funding over year to year. So you have to get your funding year to year so that whatever you get, you implement that. So we're in year 2, we just finished year 2, we're just started year 3 in August of that meeting. So we're advancing. And now that there's a new president in Mexico, we're going to be working hard to ensure that Tijuana continue to be prioritized for funding. So that's minute 3 to it. What's our fourth front? Our fourth front are the transboundary flows. And eliminating the transboundary flows that were happening last month. Where we were having 50 to 70 million gallons per day of transboundary flow. Now it's not all sewage. A good part of it is sewage, but it's not all sewage. It is water that is discharged from wastewater treatment plant that's treated, and it's also street flows that come in. And so, but we still have an unacceptable level. We should be having 0 transactions. Okay? So what we have been doing for the last 6 months is having very rigorous meetings with Mexico, having meetings with the state and the Fed, reviewing satellite imagery, doing binational inspections. Our staff is going there and going for the sovereign countries, and we are inspecting their. Okay, that's a heavy lift. That's a heavy lift. And the other thing that we're doing is that we contacted a study to figure out where this flows are coming into the river. We're reviewing satellite imagery as well. Okay, that study's envisioned to be finished next month. But these are the 4 fronts that we're working on. Science is the important thing. Mexico's infrastructure projects that they've identified are a big thing. And then there's always that unknown variable of where else are we getting flows to the river. Okay? So we're gonna be talking about, and we're gonna have to put this out now. Remember, I think it's really important for the faces of the different staff that are involved in this. The level of engagement that the IBWC has. Yes, they're looking in El Paso. Yes, our headquarters is, now we're in house playing right away, but there's a lot of people there of what's happening to the students. They're gonna be talking about it. Because they're passionate about it. I always say the IBWC, we are the boots on the border. We are protecting the lives, we are protecting health, we are protecting water quality. That is what I'm. So given that, I think is that my last one? Next one. Oh, here are my four. Here are my four. Here are my four, both the four areas that we worked at. I know we will send this out. As we were like into big pictures, I talked about repairs and compliance. I talked about rehab and expansion. I talked about minute 328 projects with Mexico, and I talked about transboundary flow. Okay, let's go to the next. Okay, so I want to introduce Isela Canava, who will be talking about the repairs so that we can have a compliant wastewater treatment.
To provide an update and mainly for compliance, we all are aware, the main thing that we need to bring into operation again is the primary sanitation. And we've made progress. We're still not where we want to be, but we continue to make progress. We all are aware of the tanks were offline from March 2020 to June 2024 when we started bringing some of our tanks. Online, we actually started doing some of them online in April of this year. And then we again faced some challenges. So we had things that we had brought online and then we went back offline for an issue with a chain and an issue with an non-sediment. So it's been challenging, but we're almost there. As of September 30th, we now have 4 weeks. So that is great news. Our last one, PSP number 3, just needs to be completed this week, and then we'll start with the rehab. They're replacing and repairing all the mechanical components of the PSPs, and this will be the last week. Also, we already completed installation of our new internet pumps. As many of you may recall, when we got the storm and the big fire in January, a lot of our pumps went out in the days with the pumps installed. And Commissioner mentioned the JV one. That is for controls for plants. When we do get which ones that we got before, very important to be able to close, lower that valve and be able to help out with the plant, which is really going to be important in the coming months when we will keep close during those times, so we're not in a situation where we would figure it out. If you want, we did have a few delays on a permanent solution. There was some back and forth and we were able to improve IBWC. That permanent solution, we probably will not have to do it. However, our team can be able, that I forgot current year, with our operator, who's coming to project for us, looking at the temporary solution. And as Commissioner mentioned, we are hoping to have that temporary solution in place and operation by November. We're actually looking by the 31st of 2020. And it will be checked. It is a temporary solution, so we're going to have a list of implement processes where they're doing their check on and making sure it's within the and that there are no issues with that temporary structure. Next slide. I do want to show you this, and I know it's a little hard to see, so I will go over the numbers. We want to show when the green reflects when the PSPs came online. So they're in order to start from PSP 1 all the way to PSP 5. And then we show the flow, the average monthly flow, and the average flow, and the numbers. I know people actually. But prior to any of the SPs coming online, we were having a lot more incidences. In March 2024, we had 18 incidents in our current excellent limitations of the permit requirements of 39.
In April, when we had our first PST come online for just a few weeks, we reduced those exceedances to 29. And the monthly average flow was 22. In May, and we were about the same at 28. And the flow was about the same, average of 23. In June, probably due to stabilization, and also temperature, right? And the bugs get a little, get used to it. We actually reduced exceedances to 3. And the monthly flow was 22.49. In July, it increased. And you can see there was a little bit of gap here. Our PSP5 went back offline, but then we had PSP1 come online. So there was some stabilization, issues there. And we expect, we first started this process, and we're talking with the operator, we expected, the stabilization to last about 2 to 3 months. So this is in line with what we've seen, right? So in June, we did get the reductions in exceedances, but then we found out again in July, as we brought a different PSP online. So we right from forward and yes. We got a reduction down to 2. And if you notice in July and August, we have a reduction in the average. We were at about 19 and 18 MPD. The reason we were like that is because we have some, we have work on them. We had, we were installing our indoor valve, and we had to keep those. We had to keep those at about 2 but it did do it help us with our PSP work, and it helped us in the moving office. But now in September, even though we brought more PSPs online, we're seeing more flows. That impacts the stabilization of those. We had a jump over some of the experiences back up to 14. And you can see there, it reflects, by the end of September, we have the PSPs online. We don't have all of the reports for October yet. We still expect that there will be a stabilization period. And also the temperature also affects it. We're having lower temperature now. We don't know what we're going to see. But we do believe we'll still see experiences. We're going to be trending down. That's what we're hoping to see. But maybe there's a stabilization. But we're also clear with all the PSPs online by the end of November. We'll have our last one online, and we'll still continue that stabilization progress. And we're hoping that we can provide better reports for the end of November and be able to show you the difference of experiences by them. Next slide.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Maria-Elena Giner, construction manager for Coronado. So I'll be discussing the rehabilitation expansion project. The main highlight of this project, next slide.
Excuse me, we can hardly hear. I don't know if you heard the volume up or speak louder.
So this project, okay, sorry. So this project includes essential rehabilitation and expansion of the project. So it will include the full scope, which includes doubling the project permits on the 25 milligrams per day to 50 on an average, and a peak flow of 75 MPD. This is a critical component of that high-national agreement that benefits that Commissioner mentioned. In combination with the wastewater infrastructure improvements that are being done in Mexico on the mountain. This project is intended to eliminate up to 90% of unfamiliar wastewater treatment flow, which is intended to provide that cleaner, that safer water for local communities that can improve the environment. And of course, this project is in partnership with the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency. It's been funded through the 2020 USSBA, the U.S. Mexico Canada Agreement, as well as with IBWC. Next slide. So this project was awarded on August 20th. This year. It was awarded to our prime contractor, PCL Construction, and they selected Stanton Consulting Services as their designer. The current award amount, for the contract amount for design is 42.4 million. This first phase covers the entire design of full scope, which includes again rehabilitation of the existing infrastructure to restore that plant to the necessary level and for any additional items that have not yet been completed. And all expansion of the plant from with a 60 MPD average and 75 MPD. What has not been awarded yet is the second phase, which is for construction. The construction will progress in various packages and tasks, some of which we'll discuss in a second, as the design is developed. So they'll be awarded progressively as those design aspects are completed. The full project cost is including design, construction, contingencies, project management, and other support services, are estimated at about 600 million, which is based on an indicative construction estimate that have to date. Current funding that's been dedicated is 400 million, and so that means we have a delta of 200 million in funding. Excellent. So the main reason this company, this partnership was selected is because they came up with an innovative approach that gave us something very critical that we need at this point. So we just unveiled this afternoon, this approach, and I'll go through it as best as I can, but the main highlights just to explain is that they use some of the existing infrastructure and they're going to convert the EP basins and the bays to different kinds of tanks that will then provide cost savings because it does not build for new advanced sedimentation tanks that were required in the original. This savings then allows a new headwork facility to be built. The original scope just included rehabilitation of what's existing, but realizing how critical it is to address this preliminary treatment before it makes the rest of the plant vulnerable. The new headwork facility will be providing not just rehabilitation, and it will be more robust. So, as you can see, starting here at the entrance to the plant, we have the existing in blue, the blue is rehabilitation, the orange is an expansion part. So the influent pump station will be designed to use it rehabilitated to then feed the new headwork facility. This will flow into the primary, which is a little bit above that, which includes the rehabilitation of the existing primaries as well as the expansion with two new primary tanks. Then that will flow to what's in the center, that conversion of those equalization basins to what's referred to as pre-toxic tanks. And that will continue to flow to the existing advanced sedimentation tanks. So what happened was instead of providing 4 new advanced sedimentation tanks, which currently provide an aeration and pre-anoxic methods, they'll be split into 2 using existing facilities, and that's what provided those cost savings. Then moving on to the secondary, at the very top left corner is the big secondary sedimentation tanks, 10 new secondary sedimentation tanks will be provided. Along with that, we've got some other facilities, including the storage buildings and the electrical building, expanding the lower building to provide for those aeration tanks. And then moving on to where the sludge travels there, we'll have 2 new sludge storage tanks with all of their odor control throughout the facility, as well as the odor control existing. And then moving on to the very last part of the plant back down is expanding and rehabilitating the solids processing, replacing odor control. So that's right.
So what this is really showing is with that, so I'm going to go test, I'm going to test you on all of the different components. But what this is really intended with almost all of our plans in either rehabilitated as well as or a new part of it. And we are really working towards ensuring that this plant is armored and also has the ability to be resilient in storm events.
Okay, so really, we have, like I said, we have this rare opportunity to really build this plant for what the community deserves. Next one. So as the commissioner brought up, we are using progressive design build delivery method. Progressive design build is relatively new in the federal government, and so it's something we wanted to use to take advantage of for this very complex project. So what does that mean? Why is this delivery method better? Well, for one, you get full construction, it's non-available funding. And so it can be progressed in a way that we get to that full construction as we fund different parts that have benefit. There's reduced risk, obviously because there's one team, with still a design build team, we get a designer and a builder in one team. They work together, as well as reduced risk because it's they're not estimating, we're progressively estimating the construction. We're not making assumptions early on that may change. There's also an integrated construction experience in the design because it's one team working together. The design will be completed in 20 months. And as well for the construction schedule, it shortens the overall construction schedule. The typical traditional delivery methods include bidding out, again, the project to a construction contractor, making that selection, and then getting into, wrapping up into that construction. But this is one team, so the construction team is already advancing as the design team is working. So that it just moves from one phase to the other relatively quickly. So there's the contract currently has a 5-year construction timeline, which may be reduced by 15 months. And we also have early construction packages that have already are already in the works to start this year. So as defined, progressive, we'll have a more definitive full project cost as well as the construction schedule for each of those components that are being designed. We expect the 30% of about this and the 60% involved. Those are the design deliverables. And then key parts of that early construction work is that first of all, we're going to rehabilitate some degraded concrete structures and headworks or the existing inlet pump stations where the headworks currently begin, as well as the areas that are in bricks facilities that are in the primaries, things that need to keep working to not only improve the plant, but keep working while we're expanding the plant. Now, we're also going to be replacing in-kind equipment, which means that there's certain equipment that needs to go, going to be replaced sooner rather than later. Another package will be site preparation, which includes excavating for the new tanks, as well as relocating site fences, expanding the plant, getting it ready for full construction to start. And then the third package is ordering long lead equipment. So that's going to advance that equipment to be ordered and have it arrive on time. What would be the factors that would reduce that timeline? So it depends on what the final design is. So that's why there's a lot of aspects we currently don't know, just because there's still some assessment being done. There's still some factors being determined. So part of this is at 30% design, we will start getting better clarity as far as the timeline. And 30% design is in March. 50% design will be in fall, and that will have to lock in the front. So that will be kind of like a final period when we've got everything all the way down. With a lot of the notes of this project that we saw, almost every area needs to be patched. And so if it were just a traditional design, there were to be 7 years. So we want to shorten that. But the other thing that we're also working with the contractor on is starting up parts of our plans as we're getting them done, so that we don't have to wait for the end. So there's a lot of still moving pieces, and we will be informing Latin citizens for how those are to be shortened, how we're getting water quality improvements as we move forward. Okay, so our third front that we're working on, a important piece of water quality improvement, one piece is what's happening with what we call their minute 328. The minute process before the IBWC has to make agreements with Mexico. The reason it's called amendment is that when you read the agreement, it reads like a minute. The two commissioners met, we discussed X and Y, we agreed to X and Y, right? So there's a lot of negotiations that go beyond that. So, principal engineer, Ray Macias, or another one of our city officers, will also be talking about minute 328 and the progress that Mexico.
Thank you very much, for having us here, and this is, as Commissioner mentioned, this is one of the four problems. It works together with our plant expansion and the other work that the Commissioner is driving to get and provide a solution. And as a result of hearing what everybody's saying, and we're making that action to get there. We're seeing the fruits finally of being able to get there. And this is one of them. And the Commissioner mentioned that the minute 328 was signed July 19th, 2022, and it was the culminated effort of the planning by U.S. and Mexican agencies through IBWC to be able to address the border sanitation. And this included efforts under the USMCA and Water Master Plan. And it included the leadership of the key agencies, such as EPA and Coronado, who signed the statement of intent. Because without that agreement to try to get to the solutions, to get to the commitment to be able to fund, as Commissioner mentioned, they're funding about 40%. And that's a big kickoff because it starts the work. And then what we need to do from this minute is this gets the agreement that we're going to continue to get through and drive through and complete the work. The leadership meetings have been held on the ongoing project, and I'll discuss this right here in a little bit. It addresses, and the meetings will be held so that we can address the bumps that were in the road, such as what we're seeing with the flows in the river, collector breaks. That communication happens so that we can start fixing these items that come up. Bi-national technical meetings are hosted by EPA and Coronado month. So we're getting together monthly so that we can discuss what the progresses of the project were, how are we doing? Which ones are completed, which ones are work, which ones still need to be funded. The agencies that are participating include CSSPT, the state of Baja California, Coronado, SRE, Management, IBWC, and EPA. That's a lot of agencies, but that's a lot of bi-national agencies and governments that are working together to try to provide a solution. And working forward to get to the solution of committing ourselves, committing the governments to get these projects done. So on this slide, you can see kind of the layout of all the projects. There's 17 projects that are next to that are part of the minute, that are aimed at addressing border sanitation. These projects are associated infrastructure of part of the sanitation system that either flow to South Bay, International Wastewater Treatment Plant, or the San Antonio One. We have a portal. We created a portal that shows the project, that shows the track on there, and it is coded by, and you can see some of the colors, green, yellow, and red of what you got. Green showing that they're completed, red progress, and red, green, yellow progress, and red that still needs to be funded, and we're working on the country. So, and as of 2022, you can see that we have 2 that are completed in green. The PVC lab, the Oriente collector, and the yellow, you have 5 projects that are in progress. The International Bypass Collector, rehabilitation of the pumping plant at Analyst 1, Goat Canyon. We have the new San Antonio, the wastewater treatment plant. That is moving and making significant progress. We hope to see that done in spring. I believe this is we're working to see San Antonio. The one plant, as mentioned today, I think about 20% of the flows that will be taken out when this gets in operation. And of course, the implementation of PP1 and PP1 rehabilitation. Then we go to slide 3, next slide. So here you can see that we have 10 projects that are in the red still in front of you. And that's where it's important that we continue these meetings, and that's important for having the minute, because we have the commitment that we're going to be fine. Because as a whole, we're going to help with the solution.
Just very quickly, to get to our dashboard, will be available on that IBWC website. You can scan this QR code, it'll take you to it. And you'll be able to do that updated monthly based on the monthly meeting. Sometimes it's not a lot of progress, because infrastructure takes time to advance, right? But as soon as there's a change, it'll be demonstrated on that portal.
So Commissioner stole my thunder, that's what I'm gonna say. We go to this portal, and it's gonna give you the projects, list all the projects, and it's gonna give you the status and where it's at. One of the things is you'll have to dive into it. I had a hard time with it, I would punch it, and the thing would just come up. But you have to actually go and touch the project, and it'll give you the project information. It'll tell you the name, it's gonna tell you what the description is, it's gonna tell you what the status is. And if that's updated on a monthly basis, and we can keep track of those to see how we're moving. We secured almost 474 million between two governments. IBWC and Mexico or directed Mexico. With Mexico's 24% of their funding. This is big because that's been the difficult part of it, is getting that funding. They're committed through this minute, and the nice thing about the minute is it really drives and almost becomes like a law. They have followed, and they're committed by signing and the project that we're starting right now. That's the one I have.
There's a question, we have a question.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Ramon. My question, the yellow box right above you, 328 commitments, that 300 million is USMCA money, correct? The total funding right now is 400 million. So in 4 years, we've only been able to have an additional 140 million of funding for this project. That's.
So this is what's in the minute. Million United States, 143 million, that's right?
I understand that. I'm not hard for them.
Right. Thank you for that. That's very critical. At that time, it was thought that for the US, 330 million was going to be enough. We did not know that was not going to be enough until 2023. As well.
Commissioner, I'm sorry, I have a 2020 document that has a projected estimated cost of 600 million in 2020 for this exact.
Necessary part, right? That was a whole suite of projects. And so when we negotiated with Mexico, this is what we agreed to. Now, the minute does allow for adding additional projects.
I understand that.
Right, and that 600 million that we have there, which is part of that study, that I think was done by our payments, that, all of these work study which we done, there's still funding in there, without a doubt. And there's trash pools in there, and there's other stuff in the
So that leads to my next question. PVC the river diversion for the EWIP project brought online by Jane Martin in August of 2020, September of 2020. The PVC level, which you are listed as completed in 2022, was brought online. Yes, it fails. Commissioner? It's the only USMCA project. It was completed in 2019 and 2020. Thank you, Brent.
No, ma'am, this is. Thank you.
The project was complete.
Yeah.
It was considered as part of the minute project.
Because at that time, Mexico, we had money.
It's the only completed project.
So why?
It's a Trump project.
Uh,
No, it's a Trump administration project. It's a Jane Harkins, BWIP, NADBANK project.
But we have.
In 4 years, we haven't completed another project anywhere. I'm just like, Commissioner, I worked hard with you. I really have these years and morning.
So let's go back. The minute was signed in 2022. And so we have, the right, PPC now was completed before. Since then, we did complete the oriental record. In this year, all of these projects are envisioned to be completed by 2025, by the summer of 2025. So all of these projects have been ongoing for the last few years, not in our division completed. I'm hoping that when I come the next time to the citizens forum meeting, I can say it's no longer just supposed to be, yes, it was done back in 2020, but it is part of the business process.
I'm just concerned about these timelines. They are extending.
So I totally get your frustration and I think I understand most of what, you're saying. Couple things. One is it's important to realize, right, how insanely long it took for the USMCA money to get to the IBWC.
This is not USMCA money. This was money that was appropriated in 2018, 2019, and 2020. It's BWIP money. It's bank money. It has nothing to do with the $300 million appropriation. I know what I'm talking about. I advocated this thing through COVID. Through COVID, I advocated for this specific diversion infrastructure in Mexico because it's saving our butts right now. It's keeping your beaches open, Mr. Duncan.
No, I hear you, yeah.
I am so frustrated with this process that I am talking about 2019 and 2020 project,
You're talking about projects in Mexico.
and they work. They were destroyed in 22, apparently rebuilt, and we are attempting our best to bring it online. But this is, Commissioner, I hope the JB1 timeline comes way sooner because you won't face winter. And you know that, and Morgan knows that.
Right, so I want to make sure, I'm answering your question. I mean, the Mexico infrastructure, I hear what you're saying. On the US side of the border, which is what the USIBWC controls, right? That money has arrived the USIBWC this year. And so I wasn't sure, I know what you're saying was different. The reason I want to make sure that we're on the same page about one thing is because you're asking about all the money we've been able to get in this time frame. It's like, the number was up, can we go forward one side? When we were looking at the.
I've known since 2020.
Let me just finish, and then I interrupt you, let me finish. So when we're looking at this number here with the US 330, you're saying, okay, since USMCA, this is all the money we've been able to get, right? That's not really accurate for the US side, right? I mean, we got the thing we're going to USMCA live, and again, I understand this is the next infrastructure, but the additional increase in the IBWC budget that was obtained in the 2024 budget, which really was a shock to me. I mean, we were incredibly high. Everybody asked me how did the trip go, and I said the trip was great, but I don't know where to get the money, but we got it. And so right now, the 2025 budget is not done. We're in a continuing resolution, but by all accounts, since there's been a bill passed by the House and Senate, there's another 170 million coming, and that's occurred at the same time when we found out in April 2023 for the first time that there was this massive damage to the plant, the river gate stuck open, everything, the daisy chain was breaking.
The diversion gate was stuck closed. This,
Was stuck open.
these people welded it open.
Well, it was stuck open and it did break the plant, but we were the filters.
With JB1, that's not accurate. Closed. And you guys welded it open.
Yes,
Because it was.
thank you, Commissioner.
And so we put in, right now, we're putting in, maybe we're in a temporary measure that it's gonna work. Meanwhile, we're building the permanent one. Okay, so that temporary one is going to go into operation this November.
Will it protect your primary settlement? Will it protect your secondary?
Yes, yes.
And that's the problem, I mean, you're right, it was open, then it longer than open, but then when it was shut, then it was overwhelming.
Mr. Duncan, please.
But, go ahead, tell me.
No, I have a full understanding of this infrastructure.
Right, I think everybody in the room, so that's, I'm not trying to convince you it's all facts. I'm just, like,
But
no.
you gave me a description. Inaccurate, sir.
Tell me what your issue is.
You said it was welded, you said it was welded,
I mean, instead of, well,
you said it was stuck open and it was stuck closed, sir.
it was, and that's that open, right? Right? For J1,
Morgan?
the gate was, the gate was stuck in a position, was 16 inches, I think it was. And we're not getting flow to the plant. We raised it. We welded it.
And it's uncontrollable. Thank you.
We have put a temporary plate in, and we're customizing it right now. Nice picture of it, earlier, and we think that'll be fully operational.
It rains this weekend, Morgan.
Pardon?
It's gonna rain this weekend, Morgan.
Doing the best we can.
I understand that. This is a 2-year project. All these, the timelines.
And this is our second attempt, did you want it?
I was at the first meeting in July 22. I know, Morgan. I was there. I have the schematic. You know, I know, we all know.
Yes, I was actually on the Citizens Forum Board when PB Stilla was, not only presented, but also funded. And the commissioner mentioned the Arcadis study, and Arcadis came up with a plan. It was actually approved. It basically cut all the sewage in Mexico, and then SB 507 came along, kind of disassembled that. My primary concern about pump station Silva, and I'm glad it has 3 online pumps and 3 redundant pumps. My primary concern is the degrading sandstone cliffs and hollow above it, and the trash that comes from Mexico unchecked. Another thing that worries me and the residents is we know that the stormwater system and the wastewater system in Tijuana, Mexico are one and the same. You break down Latino into the first 2 syllables, you get Latin. They got their Latin from Spain. Spain got it from Rome, the initial aqueduct people. That was how they did it then. That's how they're doing it now. Until stormwater and wastewater are separated in Mexico, we're going to have a problem. And until we check those degrading sandstone cliffs are going to tear those off the shred. Am I wrong, Morgan? No. It's going to tear them to shred. And the more volume of sewage we bring into the infrastructure, the more that's going to happen. And we never know when another storm, tropical or otherwise, is going to come and devastate us. So we have to plan for the worst and hope for the best. And we have to pretty much redundant everything we build. And I don't know if there's ever going to be enough money for that.
You say we are working very closely with Mexico to curb the sediment coming in the flow of the plant and through our collectors, then eventually get to our plant. They have a lot of pumps, a lot of money replacing pumps, paying the system. So we're very aware of it. I think that's probably one of our biggest issues, across the board. So we're with you on it.
Okay, so
I just want to make one point. It seems to be assumed, but hasn't been stated, that the temporary Navy room will be open for.
Now, it'd be one position.
No.
It would. Okay, okay, so we've already put it in place.
Right.
But we need to make some adjustments. So we're like 90% there. So we're working on that right now. So it'll lower the further that.
yes, it's going to go up. Yeah, it's going to go up.
On one thought is, I agree with you that the number is not 600 million. So for me, the 600 million, I can't push it down to challenge what they're saying, to finish this expansion. But for me, there's a mix, right? Everybody was the number. there's maintenance, you have to break down again, not just the US, but Mexico. And certainly for this expansion to be done and to keep it maintained going forward for this big count for after 2023 is going to require a lot more money. And it's clearly over $1 billion.
So that's three is EPA number, 1.3 for.
No, I do that, I'm not studying everything, I'm just saying that my goal, and I believe most of the persons who are working on funding are, and even when money comes through their IBWC budget, there's really this kind of construction can make that budget, but in any event, I just wanted to hear you on that, and I believe that it is, you know, the price is going to be, which even for industry government. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so we put this slide together because this is one of the things that we really are working with Mexico, is getting our current ground results down to zero. One of the projects that we have in Mexico is there's two wastewater treatment plants that deliver about 10 million cubic, 10 million gallons per day of treated effluent into the river. And so Mexico has the plan right now, they're working with the River Development Project, they're looking at funding to take that flow and take it to their reservoir, and replenish part of that for potable water. So this is one of the things that are following up with Mexico. And on the sediment issues, with reforestation around the construction of that highway is one of the other components that we're working with Mexico. This is a city thing. So the city has been engaged now on that, plus sediment catch basins that they will take. We are also looking at installing the sediment catch basin at Smuggler's Road on our side so that we can have some additional defense measures. There seems to be an area that we can do that. So that's another thing. And then on the Million 328 project, they've only secured about 40% of their funding, overall from their $144 million. And so what is really important is that the administration allocate funding for this. So that's the other thing is that I'll be going up to Mexico City fairly soon to have those discussions with the new director of Mexico National Water Commission that's responsible for managing the pot of money that goes to all kinds of water projects. So again, my question to them is what can we do to help this administration? Yes.
One question for you. I hear a lot of working with Mexico. I hear a lot of working closely, working with Mexico. They've only raised 40%. And the one organization I didn't hear mentioned was the State Department. So one of the instruments of national power, like diplomacy, economic, the other one. What thumb screws do we have? Because I think what this is teaching me right now, my first one in person, is that Mexico has learned they can outsource their infrastructure costs to the United States taxpayer. That's what I'm hearing. 100%. Yeah. So what thumb screws do we have on them that will punish them if they don't do? Because that's what cross-border diplomacy requires when you're asking them to spend for it.
Okay. So, cross-border diplomacy has two things.
Sure, where does the State Department?
Okay. So let me do. Okay. So diplomacy has two things. Where they have incentives and they have commitments. Right?
Sure.
And incentives are aid, incentives are a tax benefit or trade benefit. Punitive measures are military, punitive measures are tax tariffs, right? And so right now, the State Department is very much engaged in this on a daily basis. Okay, the White House is engaged on this on a daily basis. I report to the White House on this, and they in turn have Ambassador Salazar organize all of these meetings, have these discussions to ensure that we're advancing. Okay?
The discussion. What are the?
Well, the advancement is funding for the Mexican government. Okay? And for the Mexican government to their infrastructure. This also includes funding from the state to their infrastructure. And so we are seeing that on a day-to-day basis. And so, yes, State Department is very limited. Have we gotten to the point done of punitive measures? That would be a call for State Department. But I think we're making progress. I think we're making progress. And the relation, Mexico is our neighbor. And I think it's really important that if we continue to make progress, we give them that. Right? So I think I can understand if it's been, 10 years from now, infrastructure is hard to build, spending billions of dollars, is hard. We're talking almost, we're investing, they're investing almost $1 billion. And $144 million in Mexico is like the equivalent of $500 million in the United States because of what it costs to build in Mexico. But I know because I worked in Mexico for 20 years. And I know this person.
But this problem has been going on for far more than 10 years.
So there's a little bit of misconception on this, and I wish I had that slide. There have been highs and there's been lows. There have been periods of time where we've had 0 trans families.
Yeah.
But it has been really hard since 2016. And it became really hard in 2016 because they have 3 wastewater treatment plants. There are very few cities in Mexico that have this many wastewater treatment plants. And I know because I've worked in Mexico, right? And so my point is that hopefully this will get us to a point where they catch up. But does our work stop here? No. We are going to have to continue that. We are going to have to continue to engage with the State Department beyond this. Because if not, then it'll start to slip. Right? And so that's why we have these citizens forums so that we can report on this type of information and we can hold ourselves accountable. But right now, we have to catch up. And I wish you could say in the future, I have a crystal ball and I can tell you that Mexico is gonna have the funding that they need for maintenance. I don't know, but it'll be incumbent on all of us in this room to continue that. And to continue, getting your members of Congress involved, to continue getting your mayors involved, to continue getting your state government involved. There's a lot of back channeling and a lot of meetings that you may not be in. And just because you don't know does not mean it's not happening. And so, believe me, there's a lot going on, and that's why we're seeing the level of investment that we're seeing right now.
Wait, now,
Just briefly to answer your question and your concern, and I get all the games, that's another sense of who you're dealing with, so Mexico. And we are happy to struggle to deal with it, and obviously, all the ridiculous effects of reducing costs in years. I can tell you just a couple three things. And one, obviously, the idea is to be under the State Department. The State Department clearly is involved. I was just in Mexico 3 days ago, talking to the U.S. ambassador to Mexico, and he has, guaranteed us that it is the top first 3 things he mentions at every single meeting with Mexican officials on any issue right now. The third time I agree with you, but pressure is what an exchange happened. And I would agree, but right now, the Mexican bottom line, the federal government came in to correct the plan for that. Obviously, right now, for almost everyone in plants and on in Mexico. A lot of that pressure came from different areas. One area I know it came from was from Sandbag here. They're pushing for various projects that the Mexican government wants. And the early pressure, the raw pressure, other pressure that was universally supported there, did get back. Things happen. So I hear what you're saying about pressure. The real easy track cause, it's they don't make the policy activities. The State Department tells them, the federal government, administration tells them, but there has been pressure applied. And one of the other things going on in History right now is the situation with the, I think, a border Mesa East project and having a portion of those poles applied to remediation of the sewage issue, which was passed by Imperial Beach City Council resolution, which they come brought a resolution, which has been brought to Canada, through Imperial Beach Coronado, and it is creating a big issue. And So I hear what you're saying. I wish it was a dramatic pressure easily to achieve, but there is, I think, support for pressure on it for them. But yeah, they're not thankful. That's not happening. And I've been happy enough to it happens, but there are some things happening like now that are significant.
Just to add that this plant, you get reimbursement from the fancy on the O&M of it. Okay, they don't support the 100% O&M, but they give us the funding that it would be operating in their plant, and the equivalent plant in Mexico. So it's
Sorry,
not
you're
a free credit. So just so you know. Okay. All right, yes.
Oh, Carl Jr. is not here anymore. Look at that.
Yeah.
I was just wondering, the smell in Trio Beach and all the trash that's there, will that be cleaned up by UWC? When will they start cleaning up some of that? Because I believe that there was a problem with not only the smell, the mosquitoes and everything.
So you're talking about, because I through the estuary, right? Estuary, because we did clean up the Tijuana River. We did clean up the Tijuana River, our portion of it when we had those storm come in, and we had all that garbage that came in, we did clean that up. So there, that piece of the estuary is not our jurisdiction. It belongs, I don't know, to the state. I'm sorry?
They're wildlife.
U.S. Fish and Wildlife, right? So what we can do, and I can make the doing the deal with them, right? But I really recommend that sort of discussion is held with them, because I think a couple of things that can happen. One is that the next spring event, that it kind of flushes that out and it will help. Another thing is that, you know, any sort of cleanup effort will really need to involve that. Yes.
This gentleman, recently, the director of wildlife told me that they were turning down, they and the state people, because the state wildlife were turning down IEPA for a $10 million cleanup rate. And one of the reasons he said was that the EPA thought that ID is no longer a low and moderate income community. So something's got to be done to correct that.
So I was just talking to the state reserve, but they have lots of money. We don't have money, but I would definitely encourage you to reach out to the EPA office and to understand what was not competitive in your application, because of course it's inflation. I am sure it's the Inflation Reduction Act funds, and there was lots of opportunity for there was a lot of applicants for that.
We have more questions, we'll have, more questions later, but let's get to the presentation.
Oh, very good. Okay. So I forgot I had this piece in here. One of the things that was mentioned that this is not being predicted. What this shows is blue is the transboundary flow through rain events. And the dark blue is transboundary flows during dry season. Okay, and this goes back, and I know it's kind of hard to read. But it goes back about 20 years. And you can see there were years when we had very little transboundary flow. And these 2 years, which is 23 and 24, is where we had these tremendous transboundary flows, and that had to do with that broken line that happened, that Mexico finally repaired, finished repairing. They had two 48-inch line and a 42-inch line that collapsed. They repaired one right away in August of 2022 because they had the materials for it, but they had to source out, manufacture the 42-inch, and so that wasn't restored until last November of 2023. Unfortunately, it was never operationalized because the rain event started,
And then the operational life, and in the summer, then we started finding all of these other issues with that. But as you can see here in October, when we're starting to see the reduction of waste boundaries. We are not at zero. We are not at zero. So I can go to the next slide, please. This is where we're at. You can see here, you can see the correctly, but this is September 11th, 2022. And we're down to about 6, an average of 6 SCD. We are having the peaks in the evening. And so now that we have JP1, hopefully we'll get it up and operational, a temporary valve that we put in will get it operational next month. We should be able to throttle back north, and that will allow us for them to turn on their other pumps so that we can have zero flow. That is the idea.
Is that because of the international collector ultimately?
The international collector is still a weak point.
But I mean,
It's still not.
is that why they can't turn on the second system right now?
No, they cannot turn it on because we cannot take more than 25 MGD.
Permitted.
And we cannot throttle back the flow because of that 96-inch valve that has been operated. So we're gonna get that with the temporary one that we put in, meanwhile, the other one will be done. Okay? All right, yes. Yes, yes, yes.
So, USIBWC is has a boss. And so, that's in the channel, and it collects the water, and then USIBWC pumps it down to PB1, and then it sends it south, correct?
And then,
Right.
yes,
So why don't we have one of those on our side? Right now, highest priority, where we put one in, it goes into the South Bay plant, or the city, underutilized plant. And that gives us the options to stop the flow going down the beach. You understand what? The main project, right? So stop the flow.
yes, but we have to treat it. We have to treat it, right? And right now, so a couple of things that we're doing, there are 2 things. One is that the wastewater treatment plant is intended to take all of the gravity flow from the plant, so we will no longer use PB1 and okay? So that's the approach that was selected technically as being the fastest and the most viable. The other thing that you're talking about also that we can do, which is part of the Iguana River Diversion Project, is to follow a blueprint that I said. That is new infrastructure that the federal government does not use on license. So that's why we're going to be doing that study that's going to say how much it costs, where it could be, how it's gonna work. Can we use that underutilized plant? That's part of that analysis. And so that is what we're going to do. We cannot just go in and build it without knowing what we're going to build or what the costs are.
Simple, the box that collects the water and a pipe, how hard is that?
It's actually quite hard. It's quite hard. It's because we can't just, we gotta take one way to look at it.
Talk about water.
Yeah, we have to be able to treat it. And we have nowhere to treat it right now.
How about in the trees?
So that in our treatment plant, we can't take that additional capacity because we already maxed out at 25. That's why.
What was that from the other one?
What is it?
From coming from the junction box.
Okay, so
And all we know, when you're taking from 10, you throw back to 15 coming in from the junction box.
and where would that go?
What? Remember?
Yeah, right, from what I brought back.
Mexico would pump it south.
If there's not capacity to take it, that's the problem.
Right, that's all right.
We're everything that way.
Give a slide of failure.
Yeah.
For the flow.
All right.
I got this. You're talking about this one. This one is extended, right? That one.
Yeah, we'll go with it.
Okay, let's keep moving because I'm gonna skip this because this is just you guys can look at this, I think the changes and all of the things that we're doing and talk a little bit about it. To the Mexico, data collection, so we're doing, environmental inspection, and we're also doing satellite imaging to look at where the transboundary flows are happening. Let's go to the next one. Okay, this is one you're gonna go with, right? This is the one where everybody thinks that we can just model that.
But this is a kind of schematic of the ADO wastewater system. So here we have the river, we have our treatment plant here, we have PVC here, no purpose is to pump out of the river, get into the system. This is PV1, it's all to Mexico. This is their main pump station, where about 80% of the flow is generated P1, flows this station here, with these two pipes, pumps uphill, supply, and then by gravity, and SAP. We monitor these flows daily. We have meters at the plant, and meter at the river, we have meters down here. We know exactly all the flows that are going out of the system. Someday, start going to have meters, we know what's coming in, we have meters everywhere. Right now, we know everything that's going out of the system.
It's in blue.
Right, it's in the blue here. So our plant is permitted and designed to treat 25 million gallons per day. We don't want to go over that. Right now, I think instead of the average of last week, the average was 25.95, which is above our permit. Down here at SAP, this is not operational, we'll come through here. This is rated at 50 million gallons per day, we're at 47.5. We're just not maxed out here. We know that P1 is at full capacity. We're full capacity, that capacity, we still have 6 million gallons per day in the river. So there's just too much in the system right now. So we're having a study that's ongoing, it's supposed to be out next month with Mexico, to find out where the extra flows are going. We compared this same date range to the same dates 3 years ago. And I pulled the flows up here. It's 79.5 million gallons generated. 3 years ago, it was 70. So there's more flow in the river. You can figure out where it's coming from. As the Commissioner mentioned, those two treatment plants down here, pumping their treated water into the river, just it's about 10 million gallons of capacity that should be in the river. So if we can get that out, and there are discussions on this to make this happen. So this is the priority. Right now, there's too much flow in the river.
Where's the Coronado wastewater going? In the river?
We didn't get any more flow outside of Tijuana. I think we got to figure that out.
That's why it's second very important for us. We're gonna have that, we're gonna have that study done in November so that we can see where all of this excess flow will be, so that we can make smart decisions on that.
Just had a comment for the San Antonio Flames. That plant was originally built 25 years ago at 18 million gallons per day, right? Shouldn't it be 55 million gallons now?
Just
Because back then,
It's a good question.
because back then, you're probably treating most of it. Now,
This plant, the E line, in coordination with our expansion, we're doubling our capacity, and they're putting the 18. So they're not gonna build 50 million gallon per day plant, and we're gonna double it, now they're not complete. So if they're building, coordination with us.
Everything the plan with the possibility of further expansion. The idea is for all the gravity flow to come to our plant. And for that, the stuff that's handled on that side of the mountain reserve, then it'll be treated by that, right? And so yes, there was a whole analysis that is being did on modeling this so that we can get the best technical solution possible. Yes.
Last question before we move on. I did. I didn't.
Earlier about wastewater, clean water, but effluent going back to the reservoir. Is there money in the minute 328 that Mexico is looking at funding, including funding for resources to pump that water back to the reservoir?
So right now, I think we can bring that as a topic that we're going to present what their study has shown. The study has shown that in order to take that water from these two wastewater treatment plants, we need a pipe. You need to upgrade their wastewater treatment plant that they have now, and you need to upgrade the potable water treatment plant at the reservoir. Okay, so all of that, Mexico is wrapping, I think, with EP funds, is wrapping up that study. Right now,
the United States commitment for that project, under the minute 320, we talked to 130. 20 of that million is for that project, but it will require match funding coming from the Mexican government. So the US EPA money is considered like a carrot to make sure that these projects get built. Okay, let's one more, I think that's it on our four approaches.
We have time for one question for the next.
Yes. I want to see what the asset management, there's a lot of work so that we don't get to the point again on our asset management, and we have people that are really tough.
Would be each step of construction, so I'm glad to see that we're doing the design build, contracting methodology, and alternative contracting methodology, makes perfect sense for the project. What about downstream, contracting for anything being looked at between IBWC and BCL on any other alternative contracting methodology used with trade contractors to speed up the project.
Right, so I'll let Ray answer that, because we do have, in there some requirements for local.
Well, and there is, so within PDR contract with PCL standard, that is our main contract. At this point, then what it's gonna be for the contract, start looking for the best mechanisms that he's gonna have, that we work with them at work, because it's progressive design. We are continually going through estimates, going through work that needs to be done so that we can forecast and get the best information we can on what we can afford, and that helps them drive what contracts are going to be able to. And there's a requirement that we have to PLA because of the amount of money that's involved, and we have to use local labor, we have to do local labor, labor union. So all of that is built into that, to the requirements for, and find out what is the best mechanisms and contracts that are going to be available as we're making these decisions to maximize what we can out of our plan.
So you're saying these dollars are tied to PLAs?
No, not all of it. It just says that we have to consider and use the PLA, some PLA, we have to include those in our contract. For contracts over a certain amount. So it just really depends. It depends on the breakdown of the contracts that we're looking at. But again, with those processes involved, with us being able to have those open discussions with the contractor, the design build team, gives us that opportunity to maximize what we may and to whom we may be able to get those awards.
Just to add to that, I get that question from members of Congress. And so the scope required for the contract is have certain percentage of all contractors, et cetera, according to what federal law requires. And so we are encouraging those entities to reach out to PCL because they don't have all of those contracted already. And to let them know that they've just been participating in that. Our job is to ensure that those elements are incorporated in. I would like to highlight that PCL is a California-based company, so there are some local already, we probably already have lots of, and we can have them at another citizen bar and talk about some of those things that they're doing. In Santec as well as also a San Diego police company. Okay, so we can have a lot of California. Okay.
Next presentation, I'd like to introduce Triton Diaz and Joshua Rivera, who gives us an update on the asset management program for the state dimensional restructuring.
You guys hear me fine? Hi, my name is Triton Diaz. I am the lead for the Enterprise Asset Management Program for IBWC. We wanted to talk to you guys about, we're talking about all these funding that we're trying to invest, but all these problems that we're having. One of the issues that we're having also is showing our need for our maintenance yearly and also for repairs. And so we wanted to tell you what Commissioner Giner has implemented when she started. And I have Joshua that is going to be giving the presentation, but we will So the topics of this project will be seven times over the differently. We just wanted to give a little summary of what asset management is, what involved in other considerations. We want to talk about the different industries that we have identified in IBWC and in San Diego. We want to talk about the history of asset management in IBWC. We have a little timetable that shows what we've done and how we're going to be moving forward, the benefits, where we're at, the milestones, and then the resources allocated in for our enterprise and development.
Thank you, Leslie. Good evening, everyone. As you said, my name is Dr. Program Analyst under the Enterprise Asset Management Office at the IBWC. So we want to start with just a quick definition of asset management. Systematic process of developing, operating, maintaining, upgrading, and disposing of our assets in the most cost-effective manner, either being the most cost-effective manner. And as Commissioner highlighted at the top of the presentation here today, with this program, it's intended to get us to a place of being less reactive and more proactive in the long run. But what does that involve, right? There's a few things we want to highlight that is involved to sort of stand up or implement a program like this. One will be inventory and evaluation of our assets, and development, work prioritization, and financial planning. A few other things to consider on the next slide there is safety, organizational alignment, and long-term funding strategy. One of the first things we had to identify here at IBWC is what assets do we have? What assets do we call them? Do we have under the umbrella of the IBWC? 10 of those were identified, as you can see on the screen there. Obviously, I joined low wastewater treatment plant, permanent operating equipment, or POE, gating stations, storage and diversion dam. For power plants, levees, bridges, buildings, and monuments. So that's kind of the whole scope of what the IBWC has as far as assets. As it pertains to San Diego, or the South Bay treatment plant, we obviously got that wastewater treatment plant, POE, monuments, buildings, levees, and gating stations. And our main focus really in the initial startup implementation of the program will be starting with our wastewater treatment plant. Now, really good thing is that a lot of the work was already done with the assessment or rehabilitation report that was done back in 2022 and 23. In that report, overall, 1,417 assets were identified there. So that kind of took care of a lot of the work already with identifying what we have here in San Diego. And then, of course, in 8 categories, 102 different asset classes. So we will be back in the asset management team here back next month to kind of revalidate that inventory and see what changed or identify those changes from now or from then to now.
That's just the wastewater treatment.
Yes, exactly. And actually, one of the slides in one of the previous presentations was that map there that really kind of highlighted how much assets are really there, how many components are at that wastewater treatment plant, quite a bit. So here's a quick background and history of asset management at the IBWC. Before Commissioner Giner, as she said, she came on board, checked on the spreadsheet. It was like a lot of individual asset management programs for the field office, but she did recognize the need for an upgrade or improved asset management program. That was back in 21, and so the request of the funding to Congress for that implementation of that in 21 as well. That was approved in 22. And in 23, we're really kicked off there. We awarded a contract for the implementation of phase 1 for our asset management program. And then we completed the roadmap and we began the implementation of that asset management program plan for the wastewater treatment plant. And in 24, last year, we began the process of purchasing the software to augment the asset management program. And then in 25, we project to complete the asset management program for the wastewater treatment plant. So this is that timetable. So in the infancy stages of the program, our team there visited a few or quite a bit of other agencies that have established asset management programs. I kind of get some insight or see what our program should look like or needs to look like and see what we need to kind of fulfill the needs of our asset management program. And in doing that, one of the things we noticed is that they wanted to, you have to take it really slow and move the progressive stages in order to identify those needs properly, right? We want something that works in the long run. So we decided to phase it out over time. And phase one up there started back in 23. That strategic roadmap was completed already. We've already got our recommendations for the software. We're starting the process to purchase that software. Also in phase one, we'll do the startup testing and implementation of that software. And we will start with our wastewater treatment plant up there in phase one. And then we'll move to our permanent operating equipment and then our gating station down there in phase two. Doesn't really pertain to San Diego, but that's what will be taking place in the phase of this after program. Will implement the storage and diversion again, the hydropower plants, and then moving into phase three. We'll do it 27 to 31 when we met the levees, bridges, buildings, and monuments. Implement that part. So what are some of the benefits for this asset management program? Well, we highlighted three up here. It provides an accurate cost accounting of our operations and maintenance, as Becky mentioned at the beginning of the presentation. It also allows us to use our appropriated funds in the most cost-effective manner. And then, of course, it protects our investments, since we are spending millions of taxpayer dollars on the rehab and expansion of the wastewater treatment plant. This program will give us a comprehensive sort of asset management system to allow us to have a preventative and predictive maintenance schedule, and it prioritizes our capital investments based on risk. And then down here, what does that take? It does take several years of strategic and detailed work, and then of course upfront investment with returns that may be needed at the beginning stages of the project. So where are we at now? Like I mentioned in the previous slide, that's the strategic roadmap we've ironed out. The software system evaluation is, we've got our recommendations for our software system. And this is stuff that's going to be completed in 25. So that software purchase, we're scheduled to purchase that software in February of FY 25. And then the startup and implementation and testing of that also in 25. And then down here, July of 25, once all that has been, as that process has been completed, we'll start with our wastewater treatment plan, our asset management plan for the wastewater treatment plant. It's going to be completed in July. So these are some of our milestones that pertain to the wastewater treatment plant here in South Bay. There's 8 up there that we're going to move through in order to complete that asset management plan in 25. It's that inventory validation I mentioned in the previous slide, the development of the SOP, standard operating procedure, performance targets, and service levels of key KPIs or key performance indicators, recognition and assessment, risk management, capital needs plans, preventative maintenance programs plan, predictive maintenance plan, and reporting safety plan. Go to the next one. So this is kind of what it looks like as far as our program grows, right? So these are additional resources that the IBWC has allocated to this asset management team. As I mentioned, one of the slides, Commissioner Giner identified the need back in 21-22, and she appointed a EAM Act advisor, which was our safety officer. In 23, she hired on our lead asset management team there, and especially we guys met. And then that's when our contract was awarded. The contract was awarded to assist with the implementation of the program. And we started phase 1. 24, we hired 2 program analysts to assist in the effort. And we continued with phase 1. Well, we have plans for 25. That software system is implemented. We're going to hire a software system manager. And we'll continue wrapping up phase 1 and begin phase 2. And then also plans for 26, we'll hire that software system administrator for the software. So our program is growing. I think there's a slide there. So some takeaways or things to remember to summarize. The asset management program is being implemented in phases over time, all the way through FY 31. IBWC is committed to providing as much resources as possible, including manpower to this effort. And then we do want to get to a stage where we're more proactive versus reactive. And of course, we're going to follow our roadmap and our strategic standard operating procedure. I'm sorry. Currently, we have that to follow throughout the phase process. And our wastewater treatment plant asset management plan will be completed in July of 25. So those are key takeaways. That is all.
Is Mexico mirroring similar process on what's being done?
I don't think so right now. I think we're kind of the ones that have to go through this wall first. And we already in communications with Mexico, actually, and up a program, just like before.
I think it's telling that, apparently, your department doesn't have an asset management program in place at this time.
It is very telling that we don't have a message over it.
So I think we certainly are the right thing to put this in place. I would question the timeline, though. It seems like it's really drug out. I used to be involved in helping to build multi-billion-dollar semiconductor manufacturing plants, and we built that in 3 years. And just looking at the process for all of this, just the asset management thing seems like it's a lot of time to do that.
So just to answer your question, what took a long time was creating the scope of work, hiring a consultant. We do have a consultant process for this. Okay, and it's a 5-year contract. We've talked about shortening some of it, accelerating it, but we have to also have a culture change within the IBWC as well. We've got to train staff. We didn't even have an inventory of our components. So it's like a car. You have all your inventory, you know what it is pertaining to every time you take a car, right? We didn't even have that. And we even had a GAO on it that said we needed to do some of this stuff, and we had advanced. So the reality is that it takes time. Trust me, I'm pushing on them saying, no, we gotta cut it, we gotta cut it, we gotta cut it. And there could be opportunities as we roll that. So we haven't rolled that out. But the good thing is you can help with the entire lane. Okay.
I think we all recognize the political sensitivity, to the commissioner's position, right? I mean, we should change the administration. How do you know this is going to stick? Regardless of your commissioner or, Charlie Sue is the commissioner or Joe Brown is the commissioner. Is there funding that's been in place or put in place that ensures that this is going to go to typically 2031? That would be my concern.
So Nick, as you already sort of questioned the precedent, right? And so what we've done so far is created the office, we've staffed it, right? We went from staff with 0, what was it? And then we had a part-time personnel, and then we have now, working. Okay. So some momentum has been built. The contract is funded only for this one credit, right? So it would be incumbent on another administration department to continue this work. But I'm hoping that there's enough momentum there to advance.
As Commissioner, if I may, also, and the presentation showed, Commissioner went into Congress and fought to get it funded for this purpose. And what we've created is a cost center, which to us is a funding line item that requests money. So now that we actually have it, we didn't have it. So there was nothing to fund as far as asset management. Now we have a line item that we can, that's it, we just funded to continue this process on, regardless of if any of us are.
IBWC has never had a proper way of justifying our needs for operations and maintenance. And once we have this plan in place, then we're gonna have the right documentation to go to Congress and say, this is how much money we need, and if you don't give it to us, then the decisions happen.
It's still incumbent on the citizens to make sure it's getting done, right? At these types of events.
There's the same thing, there's the same hope for 5. You mentioned the delta of 200 million. The repair and exchange. What's the hope to get that?
So, very good. Very good. We have 2 possibilities. Okay. One of them, and this was huge for us, is that we are under the State Department funding. So whenever there's money sloshing around for domestic programs, everybody's never gets in it. Because our funding is in a different appropriation fund. Okay? So what happened? This was brought to the attention, and so we actually got, because Congress advocated, we got, and the administration as well, we also educated them on that. We're small entities, right? And we let them know that we weren't getting this money. So in a supplemental bill for disaster relief, $310 million has been included in there as the president's proposal. Now it's sitting in front. Okay? And so a lot of efforts to be done with Congress. That's one of them. The second avenue is that the administration and a lot of Congress has already increased our construction budget by hundreds, we went from $32 million a year on average, 32 million for the entire quarter, to 156 million in FY 24. And the House authorized us, that's for construction, and the House authorized us, I believe, 170 million for construction, and the Senate 160 million for construction. So it's bicameral, the increase in our construction budget. Okay, so in that sense, I think we have a really good shot at making that happen.
So I agree with everything you said. To answer your question, though, in terms of like a similar situation, it's like exactly the same, right? So there isn't a guarantee. The good news is, you think about what 2024 was after we found out what happened in 2023, how underfunded it was. In 2024, during one of our IBWC most contentious congressional sessions, budget session in history, we were able to get both sides on the table on that. Part of it, I talked about a lot, but I talked about a lot, was in the one line, to get all the retires Navy SEALs, many of whom are some of the conservative members of Congress, the battle for this was a big help with the Republican side line. And that has happened, and I believe it's ongoing. The ways that that funding was done, as the commission was saying in the construction budget, is something that should, similar to what you're offering, should be refunded and kept moving forward regardless now that it's in line. In fact, some people felt that the way it was funded was better than if they would have done a one-off work for 300 million. Because the one-off work for 300 million is a lot of money that might not have been continued necessarily in the way that it is budgeted and being done now. And as the commissioner was saying, the House is going to reach pass a bill for the 2025 funding, but we're in a continuing resolution now, we have nothing filed, but it's likely it will decrease from what it was in 2024. So we're pretty optimistic, but I agree with what the commissioner said. To me, the main thing is to keep citizens, but for me is to keep the elected officials constantly keeping the front of DC, because as someone said, I think it's our groundbreaking today, I'm conservative here, I think maybe Paul Marcus said it, but they say that all the time. If this sewage issue was successfully dead, they would solve it right away. We did a court on. They constantly figure out it had really ignored. It's totally clear. Probably not going to address in the employee.
Okay, discuss trash booths on the Mexico side.
Okay, one more presentation. And then we have what? Let's go through on that. Okay, everybody has any questions? Okay, your next presentation is by Mike Belcher, environmental engineer and environmental management division. To speak on the implementation of the water soil testing program, the T1 River and
Thanks, Morgan. Do you have my presentation? Want to put it up? Do you want me to share the screen? Do you want me to just give some quick details?
Yeah, if you could share your screen.
I assume this is visible to everybody there in the room. I mean, I know it is to those of us on the call. Frankie?
There you go, you're good.
Thanks, man. So I'll go through this real quick because there's only like 5 minutes left in the meeting and I don't want to take up anybody's time. Ultimately, the short end of this is that the stakeholders have been asking for a water quality monitoring program in the Tijuana River and the canyons on a continuing basis. So to at least get things rolling, back in 2019, we did a binational study of the river and canyons that's available on our website. We published the results of that study, very detailed, very intensive, and did that study for 1 year, produced some really quality data. From that, we went through the Minute 320 process to try and develop a water quality program. And ultimately, when our permit was issued by the Regional Water Quality Control Board, they put in there an outline of a program that they would like to see us develop and implement. So we went through the process of letting the Minute 320 stakeholders review that program developed by the Regional Water Quality Control Board, brought in comments and developed a final program that we have now awarded. It has been, it's in the process of having a quality assurance plan developed, and we'll probably start implementing it about this December and go on for however long we can, the permit it requires it for the entire permit time. So it'll go on for this entire permit time, and it'll probably go on after that as well. To give a short of what this program has in it, ultimately we're looking at water quality samples in the canyons, once per dry weather event, once per wet weather event, and we're looking at the water quality at the river at 2 locations. There when it crosses the border right there at Dairy Mart Bridge, and then before it empties into the ocean down near Imperial Beach, and that will be tested once per quarter. We'll also be testing sediment in those locations twice, and we're also going to be doing trash sampling. That'll be in year 2 and 4 to try to characterize the trash that's coming across, the quantity, potential sources. A quick map, I know it's not easy to see, but kind of shows an outline of the area. We have 2 river stations, and then we have each one of the canyons that have a canyon collector. So Silva, Canyon del Sol, Stewart's, Goats, and Smugglers. Each one of those will be locations which we'll be analyzing for all of the parameters that I mentioned above. To kind of point out what would be testing, we're looking at, the regular kind of compounds you see in a river, such as ammonia, BODs, things of that sort. But we're also going to be testing for metals, pesticides, industrial pollutants, bacteria, and to see any kind of man-made impacts that exist in that river, and be analyzing those on a continuous basis. So as I kind of pointed out, we issued the contract. The company that's going to be doing it is EGC Aegis. They're currently developing a QAPP. Once we receive that QAPP, we will send it to the regional board for their record, and we'll begin our monitoring program. And it is a U.S. side only program. I will point that out, that it is, for the NPDES permit that we have developed on there. So there, it only took 3 minutes. I could have gone in a lot more detail, but kind of we've been developing this monitoring program for many years, trying to get it implemented at various stages, and have finally got it, funded, contracted, and put out there. So it has been discussed many times, but just to give the short detail on that. It has begun, and we'll begin a continuous monitoring program. The data will be submitted to the regional board. It's part of our NPDES permit, so it will be going to the regional board and made publicly available as well for anybody who wants to review that data and see what kind of constituents and parameters are in the river and in the canyons whenever there is flow. With that, just a brief update. That'll conclude that on there. I don't know, Frankie, if you wanted to go into questions, if we have time, or what you wanted to do next.
All right, we have a question here.
I do have a copy of that previous report that was done by Wayne for over a year. They monitored soil and water. And to read this report, great job. And it really shows that the toxic levels that were present in that study for a year were not above EPA thresholds. In fact, it showed that the river basically, when it's running, is very clean. The worst spots are the ponds and sewage that are created by the county on the county property. And so this report really shoots down, unless something has changed since 2019 to now. There was that report of cyanide gas being detected. So if there is a change in the toxicity level coming across the border, then this new program that Wayne is talking about will allow us to monitor those contaminants, and also educate the public about, the pros and cons of a Superfund site. So thanks, Wayne.
Yeah, and ultimately, it'll also give us a trend and the ability to look at a trend, which is kind of difficult when you only had a 1-year study. So hopefully we can look at, whether a lot of these projects, the 328 projects, our project and everything, is having an impact. Do we see a change in these constituents, up or down? Do we see, progress? And so, the one thing that the 2019 study missed was that long-term analysis that allows us to look at progress and trends that this will hopefully be able to pick up on and continue to be able to sit there and show proof or evidence of these improvements.
And Wayne, quick question, in terms of the monitoring, is that the soil and water, or is the soil, water, and air, and up to the methodology and all of the public information with that as well? And do we know the frequency of the monitoring?
Frankie, can you repeat that? We can't hear whenever people are talking.
Can you ask that question a little louder, please?
Or if you can just say it, I can hear you great. Yeah, if I could get the question again, please.
Questions? Okay, Wayne, thank you very much. Okay, time left, we'll give each assistant board member chance for comments. We have some public speakers that signed up. And it's time to get a question. Okay, so do you have any comments? No, I don't. Okay.
I love the idea. The idea of the plan by adding the but just by adding it's part of the annual phase, that reactor, you definitely improve the capacity to secondary for this system working better. And you will reduce a lot of this slab. The only part that you didn't mention was what are you going to do with the slab? You are going to produce more slab, and what's the treatment of what are you going to do with that slab? The excess that you produce. That's going to be the more clear.
The sludge right now on Mexico, they haul it on. With the cancer plant, still there's sludge and they haul it on. It goes back to
There's a lot covered here, so I'll try to be brief. I guess it's a a person who lives in Vero Beach that has been commenting on it for almost a decade. I'm just really shocked at the time frame to implement this. If this is a design of 20 months, and then sometime during that time, it would be implemented, that the construction would start, and it's a 5-year construction, then basically we're looking at 2030. And that's a long time, especially when, you know, the UMCA agreement was funded in 2019. That's a long time, and it's a long time for us to wait, and so that's my first concern. The second thing that was stated was about the pipeline that goes down to SAB. That line was designed to carry up to 60 million gallons a day. And in the 1980s, when they were supposed to put in SAB, started in 1985, completed in 1988, and stopped real operations 3 years later in 1990. So that plant was allowing the water to go through, but it really wasn't being treated. It was basically going through the ponds and through the ocean, but wasn't cleaning it. There was also an agreement by Mexico at that time to put a plant there, a sister plant, that would treat 56 million gallons a day. But that was not followed through. So now here we are, and I think one of the very big frustrations for people that live here is that when the Arcadis report was completed in 2019, that then by a settlement agreement that was replaced by what was called the UMCA Comprehensive Agreement. And that comprehensive agreement or plan is nothing, it's a misnomer. It is not comprehensive. It doesn't address the Tijuana River, and it doesn't address, basically a fundamental change, which was to, instead of pumping the sewage down to these plants in Mexico that were supposed to be built, now the comprehensive plan, in fact, we're now taking on treatment, and we're going to be dumping that sewage, treated effluent, off Imperial Beach. And even when these plants, which I hope they perform perfectly, when they perform perfectly, if you take 60 million gallons a day with a 5% solids, it's gonna give you 3 million gallons a day of fecal solids off Imperial Beach. And with 25 million gallons a day, we're pushing about 1 million. And that's the nut right there, because the DDPCR test that closes our beach is based upon finding fecal DNA in the water. So there's no addressing the fact that we're just thinking it'll be okay, but no one's really looking at, because the what's put out there is tested under the old NPN test, which looks at live cultures of E. coli subactivity. That's what you're currently doing that. When it leaves your plant, I'm very sure that it will meet that because of the process you use. But it won't stop our beaches from being closed because the fecal solids contain DNA. And you just can't get around it. And so the hope that we all have is that this will work and that it will be great, but it doesn't address our Tijuana River, because that's not your responsibility. Your responsibility ends at Dairy Mark Road, and the county is now in their river restoration plan is now creating ponds of sewage or pounds of water. And so, for the local people, the beaches, if it goes like it is now, will be compromised.
because of the new DEPCR testing. And our river valley, and it's not your responsibility, but this USCA comprehensive plan is not comprehensive. It doesn't address all the other factors that are in the valley.
Thank you. I won't get into that, but I just wanted to mention that the old test and the new test are both definitely under review right now by, I would say, pretty much most of the public officials in San Diego. Coronado's had meetings with pretty much every supervisor, council member, the EPA, academics, their studies taking place. That new PCR test has not been expanded in the country outside of San Diego. It's used as an academic testing in certain areas, but I would not be surprised if there's never back to the old test. The new test is, we also ran a side-by-side cost to the city of Colorado, the old test and the new test for multiple months to see if there was a correlation, because you think if the new test was supposed to be more sensitive and better, then when the old test say was here closure, the PCR test would be even higher. And it's like, it made no sense of the place of not consider correlation. I mean, obviously, my main goal is to have our beaches closed when they're unsafe, but also to have them open when they are safe. And worse, is my main goal is to keep funding some sewage in the first place. But I just wanted to mention that because that is clearly underleaking. There are a lot of other dynamics that go into it. How can we get the responsibility for the beaches? And a bunch of other changes. But there's a lot of work even on that with academics, including peer review studies that are coming out. So it's not some type of hotel bell trying to review the studies, which I wouldn't be shooting out today. This is trying to get to that side. That is actually good.
If you take a couple questions, then we have a speaker. This is for online, yeah. Online. Yeah, Frank, do you have any questions?
Mary, did you have a question?
Citizen forum, board members online. You'd like me to say?
Mary, did you have a question?
You guys know. Okay. Pardon? Yeah, you're muted if you're, go ahead and speak, yeah, unmute.
How about that?
There you go.
Okay. With all due respect for the amount of money that's being done for this study, couldn't something be spent to just stop the trash? Because I don't really see any point of measuring the amount of trash that's coming through. It's simply going to deteriorate into the soil and the ocean. And the trash just needs to be stopped at the border or close by it.
So I can take a little bit of that. One is it's a requirement in our permit for the regional board. So kind of have to do it. But on the second one, we're currently about to install up under a cooperative with a private entity that's going to be installing trash booms in the river in order to determine if we're able to, see how effective that kind of a system is to be able to collect and capture it before it gets further downstream.
That's Oscar Romo's design that's sitting outside the IBWC plant now?
It is.
Okay. When's that going to be installed?
It's being installed right now, and it should be fully installed in a couple of weeks. I'll think before the first rain.
Okay. Let's all hope that works. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you. Question, Tom?
Well, no, I did very much think about Mexico having trash booms. And ours is trash boom faster than yours. Are you interested in doing that? 13.
You can't, we're not relying completely on Mexico.
Yeah, don't want to rely on Mexico, but just, still doing, route that's called the minute 320 for visitor bid that was filed right before I started. And so it has, it has a city involved with the format, and there's even a new mayor that came in, and so that discussion is going to be.
It was the, two more questions, then we move our speakers.
Yes.
We need to take-
My question actually was the first speaker after the commissioner, showed a couple charts and she was talking about 39 exceedances. Now, a couple questions. First of all, is that an exceedance of capacity, 25 gallons a day, or is that an exceedance of thresholds for water quality? Because that's
Water quality, like water quality.
Okay, so we're talking one day every day, and we have 39, obviously there's no month, so 39 days. So at what intervals are those measurements being taken to report exceedances?
There are monthly samples, there are weekly samples, there are daily samples, combination of those. There might be some, flow exceedances, but for the water quality, monthly, weekly, and daily. So some of those are over.
I had a question about, citizen forum. Is the EPA administered, penalty fine for any kind of violation to IBWC? And how long have they been fishing on, what the duration, anything like that in the fishing?
Thanks to Mexico or?
Or the
IBWC.
have they issued any?
EPA issuing fines on USIBWC.
Yeah, or just the violation?
Well, we get, we're out of compliance, we get notice of violations from the regional water quality control board.
Okay, how long has that been going on?
Probably for not quite a year, but we get it monthly. And, we meet in person monthly for water board. We exchange reports on a weekly basis. We are totally in cooperation and working with the water board.
Yeah, but those are closed rules, because I've asked to go to one. So I'm asking, there's no visibility in what, on our end.
Visibility,
Like,
what
mhm.
was it doing?
Yeah, like, well, like, so there's violation. What does that mean? What's the penalty for keeping the violation in place for almost a year? Is there any kind of fine? Is there any kind of?
There's no fine, but, we brief the water board, publicate the, commissioner and the,
I'm not an expert on this, but I had a similar situation with another people with running large list of and what I understand is that clean water, who's responsible for enforcing that mechanism of it, they can be able to do for their funding. And they can find private entities. They cannot find, for the Supreme Court decision some time ago, they cannot find both. Right? Even so, they can sue us. Right? That is their state honor. And they sue us. Okay? And so part of settling that lawsuit was before I started. We settled that lawsuit. And so we agreed to, at one point, to start doing all of these improvements. And then at one point, we got a notice violation. We started doing all these violations. I'm still doing it. And so I regularly go to the board, every few months and report on where we're at. My whole personally, if I'm there, more than that. So we regularly report on how we're doing on the fence. Okay, so that is part of how we have transparency. We also put this on another topic. We're moving, and just to let you know, is that, this issue came up before a judge on Coronado, and the state, they saw we were moving. They saw we were trying to have it, and that we were advancing. And we're on target to meet a water quality parameters
this one, this coming work in November. I don't know, Jen, don't like the judgment that I don't do that.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys doing that. It's something that did not, it's not how I want to go. So we all the dark side. I know that I want to do with that. Thank you very much. I share the concerns of having if you look at 2016 when we got that, and from 2024 and now 53. So I'm concerned that it's so long. I'm curious, there was a chart that showed how people, which I know because we have from red and we all like panic. So what is causing that? I know I have a friend who works on bridges down there, and he's like, yeah, well, people are they will come in the morning, and there's like 5 water pumps. When things are getting turned on, are you aware what I'm like, thank you.
So, is this your,
Yes.
or the thing that you just pick up?
No.
What is your name? Right. You know, I used to bring my son to these types of things, and it was a Lord. But, you know, you dressed up for it. I'm really proud of you. You really, this is citizen in action. And it's your message. It's your father. It's a great example, right? So to your question on that, is that diurnal flow patterns facilities are like that. At night, where people are showering, and so that's why we get more flow than the system. Okay? We are hopeful that now that we have, so what happens is that the part of it will go to our plant and part of it will go to the rest to the coast. We can only receive our plant 25 energy on average because that is what is permanent. If we get more, it will be violent. So now that we have this valve that hopefully we're going to start operating, where we'll be able to throttle back that flow, and then we'll force the rest of that to go. That's when we will tap how close we are to the in spite of that, we are still doing that every study. It's been identified as source. It's once we identify that, that will give us the full effect, right? And one of the things I know maybe are, so getting back to the timeline, one of the questions that came up. The stat tech is here, our design engineer is here. At 30% design, which we're gonna get in March, we will start to really see how long that construction timeline is and what it can shave off. Okay? At 60%, we have to lock in, which will be in August. We have to lock in the price in the state. So at that point next year, we will be able to say more definitively how much we can shave off. In the proposal that we got, based on what they do, they have already identified 18 months that they could shave off. I've had meetings, high-level meetings with the consultant and the contractor and the board engineers, and we are are starting to identify, I've asked them to identify between now and August, to identify things that can be done to start up our plan. Okay, so that it's not you build it and then you turn on. And we're working with a lot of quality people. So I don't have the answers yet, but they will come as we start advancing this process. Okay, and so part of that will be, we will be regular, these are held 3 times a year, we will be regularly reporting on this and what we're advancing.
Okay, we have some public speakers. First one, Derek.
And the commitment, to the city for or former neighbor family over there. That is, on 12 off 12 right now. That's how the city works. The pumps are on people, and off people, repeats at night, they directly correspond with water usage in P1. On the 30 day, they look like this. Is that the CO pump? Yeah, that's PVC. Looks like this. Last night, the pumps on at 7, it's a little late. That's how you know important people were there. Beyond that, though, these pumps came on in September 10th. My name is Eric Sagerson. I've been involved with this for 7 years. I fought hard for this diversion infrastructure during the Trump years, which was incredibly hard to fight for.
When they came on in September 10th, immediately it went to zero from a peak of about 50 to 70 million gallons a day. So now it's about 10 million gallons a day. So you're looking at a 75 to 80% reduction in sewage in the Tijuana River Valley right now, every day, starting in September 10th. Really happy about that DEPCR, Mr. Duncan, because as you may know, in September and October, every beach, if it was tested under old water quality standard from LDE, Southwest Flags, Northwest Flag, end of Seacoast, IB Coronation, Silver Strand, Coronado would never close except in rain. Every beach would be open under old testing right now. Every single beach. And that brings me to my biggest concern. Is Mr. Henry's children cannot breathe. From where I used to live, I could see Mr. Henry's house. We still own that home. This plant expansion does not address flows in the Tijuana River main town. It addresses flows in an attempt to reduce and eliminate flows at Punta Bandera. And because of the outweighed coastal influence on this process, we're stuck in a bad way. So I'm going to ask the Commissioner and Morgan Roger to change the venue this citizens forum meeting. This meeting needs to be in the communities that are disproportionately affected. This meeting needs to occur in 92154, where the plant is, or in 92173 at Coral Gate community where we cannot breathe right now at all. This meeting needs to occur in a place where the horse ranchers can ride their horses, because I don't see the horse people here. I don't see the people who live on Iowa, Aber Highlands, Nestor, Otay Mesa. I know IB's here. I know Coronado's here because they're worried. Coronado won't close. Mr. Duncan has to swear. Coronado won't close again under DEPCR testing. Because it's not closed now, and it should be, because its numbers say it should be under DEPCR, but not under old testing. So I'm going to request a venue change. I have already begun to lobby D1 Chairwoman Nora Vargas, and I hope to see you in the spring to talk about what we're going to do about that. Thank you, Commissioner.
Certainly, we are meeting in the liver. Already talked about it.
Needs to happen.
Laura Wilkinson Fenton, I'm from the NGO StopSewage.org, one of my co-founders, Stephanie Cockcroft from the run. And we have a couple of questions. One, I do want to address the PCR testing. It is state of the art. It is used for water quality testing, also in Michigan. There are other locations that are adopting it because it's rapid. It's a rapid test. And the old testing, that culture takes days. So there's a reason that we've gone to this to protect public health. Or not in this people in the period, you know, people who come close. My question has to do with what Congressman Vargas alluded to today, because we're looking at long-term planning. And it's no secret that 2024, or sorry, 2026 is when the Colorado River Pact expires. You know, the states are not agreeing on anything. We know your diplomats are working with Mexico on that too. And we're facing down drought, serious drought in our states and in Mexico from the Colorado River. Are there any plans, or could there be plans moving forward looking that you're doing to incorporate any kind of tertiary treatment and ways to recapture this water? Last question too is diverting the Tijuana River itself, the part that you cannot treat. That's why we're asking for a state of emergency. Diverting the river happens all over the world to treat these rivers, and we need a state of emergency to make that happen here. That's just a statement, not a question. But if you've answered the question, Dr. Giner, I appreciate it. Thank you. One of the things I mentioned for my question was that we are looking at contracting a study that will provide a blueprint and scope for a river diversion project that includes something that we need. That's one thing, is hopefully at some point we'll be able to come and report on the district. That's one. So that is and again, to give a resident an opportunity
to advocate for funding for the construction of this type of. That's one. The second thing with regards to tertiary treatment on our wastewater treatment plant, that right now that water belongs to the country of Mexico. We don't have any plans right now to do that. As someone who has worked on project development in Mexico or anywhere in the United States, is that you need a project sponsor to do something like that. So Mexico would definitely need some community that we need to work to take that water back, right? And it is a possibility because it's there as an opportunity. Okay, it doesn't mean that what we're doing is eliminate.
And you're what? Elizabeth Wasserman. And Henry. Again, sir.
I was going to say, thank you, great. I guess I'd love to know how those pumps are running, because I do hear that, right? I mean, so it makes sense, because the showers lock this up, but we're smelling more. Really, like that's a thing. Yeah, well, that's okay, just wanted to do just because there's a forum like we're here, just know that there's people, I mean, you know, it's like it got so bad that we our easily from here, players breathe, we have to take the kids, you know, we live with 6 minutes. Like that, but instead it's like an hour of idiots or more, you know, doing kind of right thing. This is really matters, but it's not just because it can sound so easy, like, oh, those are kind of reminders, it's smelly and we keep putting sometimes, but it's really dangerous. Like the point where it's like, I've had 2 staff infections. My youngest lives in the reading staff interaction. This is like, just so you know, I know you people, but it's real things. Please, you know, just either to see. And then, yeah, is there transparency where we can see them up there or not? Down to be paid for them? Is there a way that we can do that?
Yeah. It's so, PVC on, full purpose, divert the flow into the river, get it into the system. And instead of 4 pumps to PV1, which the pump is being used, you use 3 at a time. So during the course of the day, we have 3 pumps online. And towards the end of the day, we get feed flow to the system, and the flow in the river goes up. We have to turn some of the pumps off, otherwise it comes back to the plant, and we get about 25 million gallons per day. You see our permit. We are balancing those pumps with the capacity of our plant. The low pump, they pump more, it goes to PV1, we get overflow in our plant. So PV1 is pretty much maxed out already anyway, about 40 million gallons per day. We're at 25. If it's just too much flow, can't go, we can't pump that out, so can't pump it out of the river, there's nowhere for it to go. So what we're doing right now, we have 2 pumps on all day long. At 9 o'clock, we turn 2 pumps on, and we goes off until 1 o'clock in the morning. All the time. You can see the bulletin cover. We have a website, and I know Eric, you look at that every day. And yeah, so you can see the proposed welcome down. And you can see that in general, 12 hours a day, there's no flow. 4 in the morning till 4 in the afternoon, and you start seeing flow in heat. This is not. Right, we don't pump more in.
Just for every education, how much sewage every day do you want to manufacture, create?
My clothes need to make 8 million gallons per day. We've been doing that. When in the plant, river, SAP, you see about 8 million gallons.
That's not also part of the exercise that we're doing to see where actually the sewage is. We're getting that data from them as far as the volume, and we're seeing with 70 to 75. So we're trying to identify where that additional flows in the river are coming from. Okay, so but we only have certain months of data, and they have given that to us based on the potable water consumption. This is another country, and they're sharing their data with us. So I'm really grateful that they're being transparent with this information.
I looked at the data for the aqueduct from Valley, that's about 100 million gallons a day, and that actually comes out to around 100,000 acre feet per year, more or less 5%. So that's a real good indication that, Morgan had said before, that's the dam removed from about 80% input water versus the unit flowing from the sewage treatment plant and water supply in the city. Right, Morgan?
That's right, so we are looking at it from two different ways. We know that we're seeing 50 million gallons a day. We also know how much they're generating. We're taking that percentage, and that should be the wastewater. That one.
I don't know if you saw this, on the news today, Governor Newsom came and I guess yesterday and, toured the area. Is he going to be offering any alcohol?
So I will tell you that I have three governors here. He went to Mexico as well. And I also frequented his school. His visits to the White House are very helpful. Very, very helpful. So he is, back channeling and having meetings in the White House that are making it easier for us to get more done.
He still doesn't want to declare an emergency though.
And that is his right as your elected official. It's not for me, right? So that will be something that we will need to follow up with the state. We, the IBWC, is seeing the benefit.
Thank you.
8:37, I appreciate everybody staying this late. I'd say that, our staff will hang out a little bit. If you have any questions,
Morgan, I put in a request last night to Frank to be a public speaker. Did you not get the email, Frank?
Who was it?
On Corvo, yahoo.com.
I didn't see it, but if yeah, if you want to speak for a few minutes.
Nothing's gonna happen. Mexico separates their wastewater from their stormwater and they recycle. When I was a citizen, foreign board member of the total generated wastewater in Tijuana, they were only recycling 6% of it. We got this thing coming up called Superfund. They're trying to get federal EPA to superfund something that's a non-point source polluter outside of the United States of America. And in the past, that's been very unsuccessful. What we have is a lot of medical damage that has already been done that is incalculable to the people of the South Bay. Dr. Dixon on Palm Avenue here there has determined scientifically and medically, directly coordinating and corresponding to sewage spikes, there are illness spikes in his clinic. We know that it was announced that hydrogen cyanide had come across and was in the air, then it got swept under the carpet and only, status quo for us that happened. We're afraid the damage has already been done. We could solve this today and forever till the end of time. The damage has already been done. It's incalculable. And we're also afraid that Nora Vargas' statement about Superfund last week, her last 3 words, including potential relocation. That means the land grab is on, and there was land grab on in the managed retreat and period and pushed back and got that on. It didn't happen. This is the same thing, packaged differently and presented to us, trying to make us think it's our idea that they're going to take our land in the Tijuana River Valley. I have the people of Coral Gate, the people of the Tijuana River Valley in the horse ranches. I have Nestor here represented, and I'm in the we're all on the line right now. Those people have allowed me to speak for them. And we're just all not happy. We know you meet your contractual obligation. and someone said that they weren't responsible for passing Mark Bridge, and that's not 100% true because there are canyon collectors. And they are reaching right now into the Kiwanis River. We were there Sunday night in dark filming it, and it's happening. So Saturday night. So it's happening other than just the main channel. And we don't expect coolers commercial. And we know that everybody's trying their best, but the damage has already been done, and it's incalculable what has happened to us.
Okay, I think with that, anybody wants to approach us afterwards, go here, answer any more questions, but I'd like to thank you very much. Thank you for your support, thank you for being here tonight.